why we have to stop politicizing the values and make it about conservative values, not the D and the R, and just
about right and wrong.
And it's also about how we view the parties and how we teach our children about the parties. Speaking as a young person, when I meet people, the first thing I think of is not their color, it's how do they greet me. I don't see people's color when I first meet them. I see how are they greeting me, how are they treating me. This is something that I've benefited from, having been born, 20 years after Martin Luther King gave his speech.
Let me ask you this. I received a lot of calls from people when I talked about Harry Reid earlier this week on the radio. And I said, let it go. The guy's an idiot. I mean, how much more do you need? I mean, have you seen his policies?
Yeah.
He's not a guy who is in line and in step with the American people. This is just yet another sign of that. He's been exposed. He's been exposed as just an idiot and an elitist, et cetera, et cetera. And I got a lot of heat from conservatives who said, we can't let it go.
Yeah, I think conservatives are making a big mistake with all the things out there to get myopic on this. I mean, there are some multi-trillion-dollar things out there that don't let this trip you up right now because you'll be looking at the wrong thing.
In the second row there, yes.
We have, as a nation, we're not a racist nation. We have racist behaviors, but we learn those behaviors. But that doesn't make us a racist nation. As to Harry Reid and his comment, I think we're missing the larger point there. If President Obama cannot be offended by this, I don't know who can. He should be, because what he suggested, what Harry Reid suggested, that, number one, had the president not been light-skinned, his chances of becoming president would have been less. And what the president suggested also, what Harry Reid suggested also, is that the president has this ability to be fake. In other words, he can turn on a dialect when he wants to and turn it off when he wants to, depending on who his audience is. He's acting. That's what Harry Reid suggested. So if the president can't see that, it's no wonder that he can't see the threat of terrorism.
Maybe he sees it, but he agrees. And that's dangerous.
The point is, you can't, hold on one second. The point is, you cannot let this go. Because what the Democrats have done, this is confronting its smash mouth in the black community by saying, this is how they feel, this is what they say behind our backs, these are the thought processes that go on. You absolutely have to drive this point home, because this is what the blacks who have voted 95% for Democrats need to see. And if you let it go, it's like saying, let's let slavery go. Let's let the civil rights movement go.
Wait. I'm not saying that you let it go. I'm saying you burn it in and you know exactly who these people are. But then you don't need to drive somebody out of office.
You address it. You don't need to drive them out of
office. Let them destroy themselves.
I agree.
And he already has.
I agree with that. But you have to keep this point going forward.
I think we're making a big deal out of this because at the end of the day, Joe Biden, who is his vice president, said something extremely similar. His young, black, articulate, as if black people are all dingy, clean, whatever. As if all of us live in gutters and wash ourselves with tar. So Obama doesn't care. I mean, you can, as long as he has the power he wants, I don't think he really cares what anyone calls him.
So now let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question.
They're all a fan of
why does that not register with the African American community? Why, when you bring on a guy who says he's a clean, that is the most offensive thing I think I've heard. He's a clean, articulate guy, and then he excuses Harry Reid, and he doesn't hold to the same standard. Why does that not register? Yes.
I was going to say it's because there's certain people in the black leadership who have sold out their solidarity to black people, and instead they're now working towards the white liberal agenda. So they will come out and make all the excuses and all the apologies, and that sort of smooths over the anger you would feel from a Harry Reid statement. It's just like the Congressional Black Caucus. As soon as Harry Reid said the statement, they were out there saying, oh, yes, we support Harry, look at his history, blah, 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 blah. So then that smooths over the anger for everybody else.
But, it's not only that. It's also the fact that, a lot of people, and not just black people, but a lot of people in America aren't really paying attention. To most people, politics is exhausting, and it takes a lot of time to really understand it. Anybody who's in this room has taken a lot of time to really understand what's going on, and most people don't want to bother. So when someone says something like that, it usually just flies by people's ears. They don't really pay attention to the real meaning behind it.
We can't be a successful country,
right,
unless we really start to pay attention. We've all taken this for granted. I want to switch gears here for a second, because I want to. Again, it is about using communities. We're now entering a time, and this is just a prediction of mine, and I hope I'm wrong, but I doubt I am. The main topic that is going to be happening, or they're going to try to make it the main topic for the next election, will be illegal immigration. Mm-hmm. There is no one that is more pro-immigrant than I am. Immigrants renew us. Because of the very thing I just said. We forget who we are. We forget what we have. I want the immigrant who is opening up a business and is next to me and saying, you guys realize what you have? That's important for us. But I want them to do it the right way. You come in the right door. They're going to call anyone who is against illegal immigration a racist again.
Or a xenophobe.
Yes.
Yes, well, I be on the blogs every single day about that same topic, and I'm called everything under the sun. But as I told them, you can attack the messenger, but you can not stop the message, because we welcome anybody to come here the right way. But if you come sneaking across the border, you know, and you sit there and thumb your nose up at us, you know, saying like, look, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and then the Democrats are sitting there using them they pit the immigrants against the black folks at the time now, you know, and I think it's very wrong, you know, because I just moved out of a building where there's nothing there but illegals. You know, they get rid of one group, another group come in, and they stay to themselves. They refuse to learn our language, you know, and all the schools now in that same particular town have to learn Spanish in order to communicate with these people. And I think it's very, very wrong. It shouldn't be that way. You know, come here the right way, learn the language, you know, embrace us, and we will embrace you back. But you come here sticking behind the back door, we're not going to welcome you with open arms, you know, because you're trying to make us act, you know, you want to change our laws to benefit you.
But
and
they're
that's
being
not right.
used. It's like what you said. They're being used so that they can be the next round of victims.
And not only that, you also hear a lot about like jobs and how illegal immigrants do the jobs that Americans don't do. I challenge any liberal, watch one episode of Dirty Jobs, and you tell me an American won't do anything for a paycheck. We will walk chest deep in feces for a paycheck.
In terms of immigration, the first thing that has to happen, which for some reason has not happened to date, is it has to be controlled. If you think of immigration as you would think of a faucet that is leaking currently, it's impossible to fix or repair that faucet while the water's running. The first thing you have to do is control the flow. Remember, in business, controlled growth is the best growth. Now, the Statue of Liberty is what we need to remember. The Statue of Liberty describes and defines the metal of our nation overall. The Constitution made it so. Now, if we live that and remember who we are and what we are, if we decide to liquidate that and lose our own identity, these are the things that occur. So the first thing that must happen, it must be controlled. The second thing that must happen is we must know who everyone who comes into our country is, and we welcome them with open arms.
Hang on, I got to take a break. We'll be back, and we've got a lot more coming up.